Me complace ahora ofrecer la palabra al embajador Clark, representante permanente de Canadá.
Gracias, señor presidente. Un saludo muy especial al embajador observador permanente de España en este día. Mr. Chairman, as you yourself have pointed out, this is a day which commemorates not only Columbus, today almost a controversial figure, as you suggested in your remarks, but the contact of Europe with the ancient civilizations and cultures and peoples of this continent. And we around the table, of course, are the fruit of that experience, which, as we all know, has not always been a happy or peaceful one. And one of the tareas pendientes of the nations of the Americas is the historic debt we owe to what we in Canada call our First Nations, the first peoples to live in the Americas, to occupy this space, to till its soil, to celebrate their rights to hunt, to fish. So in this sense, this encuentro, this discovery, is something which is still going on, and which is the responsibility of all of us around this table and around this hemisphere to strengthen and develop and to ensure that it takes place in the most productive and peaceful conditions. Donc, Monsieur le Président, j'aimerais dédier ma très brève intervention ce matin aux peuples autochtones, non seulement de mon pays, mais de toutes les Amériques, en cette journée dédiée à Christophe Colomb. Et je forme le vœu que nous poursuivions notre chemin ensemble dans la paix, dans l'harmonie et le respect mutuel. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Gracias, embajador. Ofrezco ahora la palabra al embajador Carran, representante permanente de Guyana, quien hablará en nombre de los Estados miembros del CARICOM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, volumes can be spoken today about the encounter of the two worlds, because it was, after all, one of the most seminal events in all of human history. It did not merely spark a widespread exchange of human population, agriculture, and ecology. It also ignited revolutions in culture and ideas, which greatly affected virtually every society on earth. Before the exchange of crops and commodities which flowed from the encounter of the two worlds, there were no oranges in Florida, no bananas in Ecuador, no coffee in Colombia, Mr. Chairman, no pineapples in Hawaii, no cattle in Texas, no donkeys in Mexico, and no chocolate in Switzerland. But at a more profound level, Mr. Chairman, the meeting of the two worlds spawned new civilizations in both Europe and America, altered the identity of European and American man, and reshaped the nature and the outlook of humanity. The passions of conflict unleashed their own dynamic, and even in the wake of the pestilences and the persecutions which flowed from the initial clash of civilizations, it must be acknowledged that the encounter represented important advances for our hemisphere and for humanity as a whole. The very character of American man, his individualism and his deep-seated yearning for freedom and independence, is a consequence of that encounter. Today we celebrate a cross-pollination of cultures which yielded a beautiful fruit. And nothing demonstrates the cementing of that union than this table in this room, where the old world and the new world sit together as members and observers. We in CARICOM are proud to be a part of this rich heritage. We strive to work with our sister nations of the hemisphere to advance peace, freedom, and prosperity for all. We take the opportunity to congratulate the King, the government, and people of Spain on their National Day, and we thank and congratulate you, Mr. Chairman, for organizing today's protocolary session. Thank you.
Gracias, embajador. Ofrezco ahora la palabra al señor Robert Armstrong, representante alterno de los Estados Unidos.
Mr. Chairman, it's an honor to have the privilege of speaking on behalf of the United States of America on this important day for all of us, especially on a day when, as has already been mentioned, the President of my country has been awarded the Nobel Prize for his efforts of his young administration to promote world peace and understanding. Much of what I had intended to say this morning has already been stated more eloquently by those who've spoken before me, which I think is a good sign. We're of like mind about many things, but on the theory that anything worth saying is worth repeating, please bear with me. I'll try to be brief. I think the anniversary of Christopher Columbus's first encounter with what we now call the Americas is an appropriate time for us all to think about the interconnection we share as American states, as well as our broader connection with the rest of the world. The title of today's session is Discovery of America, and that's the way I learned about it as a child, growing up in what we called the heart of America in Kansas, where to us the word America was taken as synonymous with the United States. We were told it was the day when Christopher Columbus discovered America. What I didn't know then, and I would bet many, if not most, of my countrymen still don't realize, is that in fact Columbus never set foot on any part of what is now the continental United States. The only present-day U.S. territories he visited were Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. But even not knowing that, as an iconoclastic child, I think I was the first in my class to doubt the existence of Santa Claus as well. At the time that Christopher Columbus hit land in the Bahamas, there were already millions, if not tens of millions of people living in this hemisphere who obviously already knew they were here. Also, we now know that Vikings from Scandinavia visited and settled in what's now northeastern Canada centuries earlier. And there are some who think Chinese navigators may have also explored both North and South America decades before Columbus. Therefore, I think the subtitle of today's session, Encounter of Two Worlds, as has already been noted by several speakers before me, is more appropriate and accurate. For what we're commemorating today was a mutual discovery. Although other explorers may have crossed the Atlantic before him,